What's up Internet, IG here again today, and today we're looking at Xfce because I realized it's been a long time since I looked at an Xfce based distribution. So what other distribution to look at than Xubuntu 13.10? So as the official Xfce spin of the Ubuntu family, this one has been developing in leaps and bounds since about the Ubuntu 12.04 release cycle. That's when I really started to enjoy using it, and to be honest, the Xfce has really rounded out as a very viable and comprehensive desktop environment, especially when it came from humble roots, more like Lubuntu in that it was very lightweight, but it didn't have all the features that people wanted. Well, nowadays, it definitely is a fully featured desktop environment. There's a lot of cool stuff to play with. So let's check that one out. Okay, so here we are with Xubuntu 13.10, the Saucy Salamander, and first up, really simplistic wallpaper and theming. I've got to say, although it's a bit shallow, I do like the theme that they've got going here in Xubuntu. They've had it going for the last couple of releases now, and it just looks clean, it looks down to earth, it looks businessy, it looks modern, it's very nice. Okay, gushing aside, the setup of the Xfce desktop is pretty standard. It's a very traditional desktop user paradigm, and if you really wanted to, you could simply flip this panel, put it on the bottom, and it would look very much like anything from Windows XP era. So it's very easy for new users to understand, and as Xfce was one of the first desktop environments that I ever used when I switched to Linux, there's something comfortably familiar about it. When it comes to pre-installed applications, Ubuntu has a good selection here of lightweight apps. In accessories, you can see they're covering all your bases here as far as archiving, file management, notepads, screenshot utilities, terminals, and Xfburn, of course, the CD/DVD burning application. Got a couple of games, a few graphics programs, including the GIMP, which is pretty good, Gthumb, which is a pretty good image management program. You've got Firefox and Thunderbird and Pigeon and XChat and Transmission for all your internet stuff, so really that's the cream of the crop there as far as internet applications go. And multimedia, you get Gmusic browser, Parole, and under Office you've got the lightweight AbiWord and Gnumeric. So that's really all there is as far as the software, pre-installed software goes, but that's really irrelevant for a system where it's so easy to install extra software via the Ubuntu Software Center. What does Ubuntu have going for it? Well, first of all, it's a very mature desktop operating system. I haven't had a crash with Xfce in I don't know how long. So for all of you who saw the Xubuntu review and you've been encountering a few issues, then I really doubt you're going to find those issues on the Xubuntu side of things because it's just that stable. Xfce has matured gradually and steadily for the last number of years now, and because they haven't had a crazy change-up like GNOME and KDE, they've just been gradually getting better and better. When it comes to all the different controls that are available, the customization that is now available in Xfce is getting better and better as well. As you can see here in the settings tier, we've got a very nicely laid out control panel here, filtered search, and all of the controls for everything under your system, both software and hardware. So you can see here that I can come in here, change the server so that I can get better download speeds, and then in the same settings dialog I can change my screen resolution. So all of that is pretty good. I can change the theme, I can change the notifications, and really anything else about this system I can change in here through this single panel. So thumbs up for the Xubuntu team and the Xfce development team for getting this settings panel down so well and so succinctly. Now what about overall desktop responsiveness and speed? Well, I gotta say Xfce flies, especially on modern hardware. Now I've heard that it's a little bit boggier on the older systems, but it's not nearly as bad as GNOME and KDE, and Unity for that matter. One other little addition that I like in the way that they've laid out this desktop is by putting this little panel down here on the bottom, a bit like a dock with all of the recently used applications or all of the commonly used apps, and of course you can throw more apps down here as time goes on if you like. Very light on resources, it doesn't chew up anything extra at all, but it does give you some nice options here for quick access. Also, it's worth mentioning that this desktop takes hardly any time at all to boot, and as it's a fairly resource conservative desktop, application launch time is pretty impressive as well. Now as you can see with all of these different apps running, if I was to check on the system resources, you've got two ways of doing that, either with the Task Manager, which is pretty easy to understand Task Manager if I do say so myself, or of course you could check in a terminal, and you can see here that I'm using almost a gig of RAM with everything open here, and only about 8% of the CPU, so it's very light on the CPU. allowing you to really get work done quickly and efficiently without any extra lag on the system. To be honest, I can't really believe I haven't looked at Xubuntu more, because I gotta be honest with you, I really like the way it's laid out, the fonts that they choose, the design theme that they choose, the pre-installed applications that they choose. They're all choices that I would make if I was going to be building a lightweight but do-it-all system. They've really covered all the bases here as far as the applications that they need to install. And as far as options go, you can customize Xfce quite a bit. If you're wanting some fancy or more customizable window management, then you can always install Compiz or something like that on top of Xubuntu and enjoy all the fancy desktop effects that way. But they still have their own window manager tweaks that you can enable, including transparencies, window tiling, and all of that fun stuff. Overall, why would you use this distribution as opposed to something like Unity or KDE or even GNOME that are all considered to be much more fully featured? I've got to say that Xfce is about on par with functionality and customization as all of those big desktops. It has just as many features and just as much power going for it as those bigger desktops. And as many of those bigger desktops seem to be emphasizing simplification on top of functionality, Xfce is really coming into its own here. It performs very well, and it looks very clean, and has all of the options that you would want in a more traditional paradigm desktop. What more can I say? If you want to get work done quickly and efficiently, then Xubuntu is the one to look at, whether you're running hardware from last year, 5 years ago, or this year. Okay, so what do you guys think of the Xfce spin of Ubuntu? Obviously, I enjoy it quite a bit. Again, comparing it to the Ubuntu king of the family, which is of course the Unity desktop, I think it definitely deserves some love because it is lighter and faster, but it has all the features that people want and need. And also it has that more traditional desktop paradigm as opposed to the funky new coolness that Unity tries to offer. This can be a good thing or a bad thing, people. Don't think that I'm biased one way or the other. So thank you all for watching this review. If you liked it, then definitely click the like button down below and hit the subscribe button up in the corner there if you like this content on a regular basis. Check back in with me soon because I will be having a review of Lubuntu, the LXDE based distribution, very soon. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.